Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be chatting to you about how to organically grow your Instagram in 2019. So before we get into this video, I'd love if you subscribe to my channel and click the little bell button to not miss any of my future uploads. Okay guys, so Instagram. I totally get what the whole appeal is about. I've been doing Instagram for quite a while now. I've been posting my work there. I started back in 2012, 2013, I'm not sure. It was a good while ago. So nowadays I use Instagram a lot for work. If there is a client that wants to see my portfolio, I usually just send them to my Instagram because it's usually the most updated version of my work. I use my website a tiny bit, but it's not as fast to update and so on. So I find usually posting some of my newest work into Instagram is like a great way to communicate. It's also a great way to communicate with my viewers, people that come from YouTube to watch my work, just to kind of have a bit more of a personal connection than I do here, because here I just talk to the camera, but on Instagram I'm able to answer DMs and I'm able to talk to people and create genuine connections. So I really see the power of Instagram and I really see how wonderful it is to build a community on there. Saying that, it is very hard to build a community on Instagram because I feel like a lot of people just follow and unfollow, or they're not very genuine followers that don't really care about you or your work. They just want the numbers. So there is ways about it. There's good things and bad things about Instagram, obviously, but today I want to share with you how I grew my Instagram to where it is at the moment, and I want to kind of give you my tips and maybe things that you can do to improve and kind of build more engagement on your Instagram and your photos and get more followers. So let's get right into it. First, I think the most important thing is to start with a right layout, grid and theme. I kind of put it all together. It's quite a lot of stuff to kind of manage, but I feel like it's very important. So personally, I've tried a few different layouts for my Instagram. I started posting images in threes first, where, for example, if I had a photo shoot that I was doing, I would post 3 photos from that photo shoot and then move on to the next one. Usually I find people don't want to see more than 3, max 4 photos from a given shoot. So I think after that it just becomes repetitive and you kind of start losing followers, and that worked pretty well for me for a while. But I found after a while, I would post the first photo from the shoot, it would get the best engagement, and then it would kind of slowly go down over the next 2 shots. So I kind of decided to switch it up a bit. At one point I was shooting a lot of fashion and swimwear mixed with beauty, and I was looking for a way to incorporate it into my feed. So I thought that a checkered feed would work very well, and it actually did. I have to say I really enjoyed the way it looked. The only problem is at one point I run out of beauty stuff to post because I'm in Bali at the moment and I don't shoot that much beauty. So here where the kind of problem came out, and I kind of stopped doing that after a while. But it did go on for a very long while and it did look really, really good. So I definitely recommend a checkered theme, where maybe you have a photo, if you take 2 different types of photos, like maybe still life and selfies or stuff, or nature and beauty or nature and fashion, whatever it is, you can kind of intertwine it this way. And it makes it look a bit more interesting, and it breaks it up into nice little kind of, sections, and it just looks very visually pleasing. There's usually a few apps that you can use to help your feed. I think Unum is one of them. I will post a few different ones on the screen so you can check them out. Basically, the way they work is you can connect to your Instagram, it uploads your current feed, and then you can add photos and arrange them in a way you want to see what works best. I find it's a very, very nice way to pre-plan your feed and kind of see what works the nicest. I would have a recurring color theme running throughout my feed, and I find it's very important to build a consistent feed. So for example, even though I am a photographer and it's kind of tricky to always take photos that are kind of taken using a consistent color theme, I found that kind of tying everything together with my skin tones, especially because I shoot with a lot of people, so it's usually skin tones, it's the blue sky, it's the greenery in my surroundings. If I shoot beauty in the studio, it's usually just the skin tones that tie it together, and it's usually quite a tight shot so you don't see the background. I don't usually post photos that are drastically different in color schemes, so my personal taste in work is very golden, so this is kind of the recurring theme in my shots as well. So if I, let's say, take a photo that is super white, I usually just try and paste it in wherever it kind of works, maybe do like a slow transition and make sure that it kind of bleeds in slowly rather than just pasting a white image in the middle of brown. Another good layout is when the images are really busy, there isn't really any particular layout or theme, but you have consistent editing. I've seen a bunch of photographers do that, where they don't really necessarily have, trees or checkered or anything like that, but they do have a consistent color theme running through their photos. As I just mentioned about my images, there's something that ties the images together. A lot of photographers that I follow would have maybe skin tones and loads of blues, or, kind of certain brownish tones to their editing, and it ties the images together very nicely. So usually if you can't produce images that are the same, in terms of maybe backgrounds and stuff, at least tie it together with editing, and that usually works. Another thing that I've done is test out images over time. So let's say I have, as I said, I was shooting beauty and fashion and swimwear for a while. So I would test out certain images and see how they perform. I would obviously pick my favorite images from each shoot and then try and figure out which one will perform better. For me personally, I think my beauty performs slightly better than fashion, but I do enjoy shooting both, so I just kind of sacrifice the likes for whatever I like the most. However, it's something to definitely keep in mind. Try and post your images, see how they perform, see if there is any certain kind of style or look that performs better, and maybe just go with it. Try and expand on it, try and shoot different variations of it and so on, and usually that could work pretty well. Sometimes you shoot a photo shoot that you love and people won't respond to it at all, and sometimes you will do something that you don't think anybody will like and it gets loads of likes. So it's this kind of stuff where you just have to test it out over time and see what works best for your feed. Next, timing. And timing is everything. I absolutely believe it. I've posted my photos at different times of days, especially when traveling around the world. I was based in Ireland for a very long time, and now I'm in Bali. And then if I'm somewhere else next, the timing will change again because I'm in different time zones all the time. But I find there is a certain universal time that works very well for my account. I feel like when I'm in Ireland or in Europe in general, it's basically between 6 and 9 o'clock in the evening. When I'm in Bali, it's usually very early in the morning because it still sticks to the European time, so it's maybe around 5 o'clock Bali time in the morning, which is very early, but that's what seems to work. So usually the best thing to do is just to post images at different times and see which ones get the best response. As I said, for me, usually evening time works best, but I know there's certain, accounts that post first thing in the morning and it works very well for them. So it all depends on your audience, how old is your audience, who is your audience, and so on, and that will determine which time of the day is best for you to post that. Next thing that's super important for me is just to post your best work. And this is so crucial for me. I've seen photographers post every single image that they took on a shoot, and it's just not a great thing. Try and be super selective. Think of maybe 2 or 3 images that you really love from an editorial, even if it's like 8-9 photos that you took, and just put those 3 up and then just, put something else up. Don't post 7,000 images from the same shoot. Don't post images that you're not fully happy with. I would way rather post maybe once every 3 or 4 days than post every day and something that is mediocre, because I feel like people get tired of it quicker, and even though you're consistent with your posting, which is supposedly better for your feed, you won't get as much engagement because people don't get as excited about your posting. So I find now, even though I only post maybe once a week, every single time I do, I post something super strong and people respond so much stronger to it. One thing since the stories came out that I find really crucial is to be very, very active on stories. I feel like nowadays most of my engagement actually comes from stories and not from the feed itself, because the feed kind of almost became irrelevant since the stories came out. Everybody's watching stories all the time, and then just from time to time they watch your feed. So I find being active on stories, engaging with your audience, is absolutely crucial. I post at least 1 story a day, sometimes 3, 4. I try not to overdo it. I don't do maybe 10, 12, 20 stories, because that gets boring and people get annoyed with you, and to be honest, I probably wouldn't want to watch myself for 20 stories either. So I try and kind of maybe keep it at like 5, 6 stories a day, ideally spread throughout the day as well, because then kind of you keep popping up on people's feeds and that keeps your engagement up. I find what's also great is using your stories to engage with your audience. So doing stuff like, polls, letting people vote, having them have their say always helps. Maybe organizing little competitions that they can do, asking them questions, just being very, very responsive, and, you know, kind of interacting with people that you follow and that follow you. And that engagement will always create more friction to your account, and it will make the engagement way higher than it would usually be if you were very inactive. I make sure to only follow people that are relevant to what I do and that I find interesting, and that means getting rid of a lot of the people that you follow. I find there's so many accounts that follow 7,000-8,000 people, and I find it so weird because it's like you can't really see what the people that you follow post, because you only see maybe 5% of the people that you follow. I think I only follow around 300 people, or maybe even less, and by that I can see every single one of their posts, or at least most of it. I can see every person's story, and I'm able to engage with them on a more human level. I'm able to speak to them, I'm able to maybe comment on their photos and so on. So to sum it all up, I think it's really, really important that you engage on your Instagram, you plan your feed, you stick to a color theme and to a layout that works for you best. Try out different times of the day that work for you best, and I'm sure you're going to grow your account. As I said, I think engagement is the most important thing. Try and create genuine connections with people. Try and make friends on Instagram. Try and always be very active on their images, you know, like, comment, and I'm sure they are going to pay you back with the same. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time.